Hey guys, Zane here, and today I want to talk about the Lantern Rite Festival. More specifically, why I felt the event wasn't half of what it could have been. To be clear, the event had some quality content too, the cutscene was insanely well put together, and although not everyone may have enjoyed it, the Theater Mechanist was a lot of fun to me. However, the mindless fetch quests and empty atmosphere cannot be overlooked. I feel it's important to also explain to the best of my ability why the devs made the decisions they did, and I'll get to that shortly, but first let's establish our problem, if you will. The footage you see on screen is a wonderful video made by Catwithabluehat. His channel and video are also in the description. We can very clearly see that the trailer for the event shows packed crowds and a festive atmosphere. This, of course, you'll know if you played the event, could not be further from the truth. I recall one of the first fetch quests we did on day 1 or 2, maybe 3, where we were helping a food stall that was like absolutely swamped. You roll up to the food stall after being told like, this man, he's so busy, you'll never like get in with him, I just need to do something real quick. And there's no one there. You go to talk to him, and he acts like he's only got a few seconds to spare because there's like millions of customers in line. But no one's there. Not even one person. They couldn't put one NPC in there to be like, all right, maybe he's in his off hours. No, it's just empty. Now, there are no NPCs at all, like to build the atmosphere, not just in that, but in any of the events. Even when the firework cutscene plays, which is supposed to be like the pinnacle of the event, there is still no one on the streets at all. Hell, there were more people at the festival in the backwater farming town of Genshin village than in the supposed hub of the event. Why is this? The current most likely theory is that they wanted to make the event accessible to phone players, and so they drastically cut back on the NPC count. Of course, for console and PC players, this sucks, but for mobile, it's very much appreciated, as NPCs tend to lag the game on mobile in an already very laggy area, which is Leeway Harbor. However, we know that they have the option to differ NPC amount between consoles. It's actually a setting you can turn on and off called crowd density. Why they didn't go ahead and differ the NPC amount over different mediums of playing is anyone's guess, but it left us with a situation where the only NPCs around were the ones we did random fetch quests for. This wouldn't have been as big of a problem. It still would have been annoying, but it wouldn't have been a huge problem if we were doing these fetch quests for playable characters. But, as you're again probably aware if you played the event would know, that didn't happen. And this is something that has caused myself and others a great deal of confusion. Where are all the playable characters? I don't know about you, but I would have much preferred doing fetch quests for Keqing or Chongyun than Nameless Fender number 7 who's in trouble. miHoYo went out of their way to make sure we saw no playable characters. Where's Zhongli enjoying the new event as immortal instead of, being an immortal god? Where's Ninyang trying to rebuild her financial empire while still keeping in the festive spirit? There could have been so many of these little interactions to kind of highlight our playable characters, not even flesh them out. Like, they didn't have to go the extra mile and, like, work them into, like, a seamless story. Just show us that they existed. But instead, we got to help out Nameless Face 3, who needed to deliver letters. Riveting, I know. Now, we get to choose a character to join our party at the end of the event, assuming you played the theater, but we don't see them show up during the event once. The characters that we recruit to our team do not show up in the event at all. I cannot stress that enough. Like, why? You could have had, like, one quest for each of them, get to know the personality before you make your choice, something like that. Something little to, like, justify why it's those that are being given to us. But no, there's just nothing. I barely even saw any dialogue referencing them. The only playable character besides Zio, of course, this was about him, is Kaya, who only shows up to plug the coming Mondstadt event. The one character who shows up that isn't, like, Zio, isn't even from Leeway. And if these, like, NPC quests were riveting, maybe that would be alright. Like, you can have a riveting fetch quest. Like, it's not impossible. It's hard, but it's not impossible. And I am a big lore person in all the games I play. Genshin is no exception. But I just couldn't make myself care about these characters or their fetch quests. There were some good quests, don't get me wrong. I quite enjoyed the quest where we gave the ghost girl a lantern. Or when the two separated Guha clan enjoyed their company through us. When we went to like the meeting place they used to go and release lanterns. That was like a cool, like, oh wow, I learned a lot about that character that I didn't know about, and this was a cool interaction. Or like with the ghost girl, it was like, oh, this tugs my heartstrings. Why am I feeling things? Like, those were good quests that when you break them down were literally just, go here, do X, go here, talk to Y. Like, quests that could have been very boring if we didn't care about them turned out to be like the actual highlights. But imagine if instead of being, Nameless Guha clan member, it was, I don't know, an actual playable character. That would have kind of elevated those quests so much higher. But instead, most of the quests, not only was it not playable characters, but it was bad quests. Like, you just went somewhere, maybe cleaned something off for someone, and boom, you're done. Take your 30 Primal Gems and move on. Now, this explanation for why MiHoYo chose this way is unclear, and I can only give you the best guess that we in the community can make, and that involves when we can participate in this event. You can start the event almost right after you unlock Leeway Harbor, meaning, canonically, you have not met all of the characters yet. So there would be this weird breakdown of the story order. This explains why we see Kaya too. He's someone you already met in the story. You know, you don't have to worry about if our playable character knows Kaya or not when you have to be in Act 2, or I guess Act 1, Act 0 is the pre-log in Mondstadt. You don't have to worry about them knowing Kaya or not, because to participate in this event, you have to have met Kaya. But for everyone else, your character hasn't necessarily met them yet, and that can lead to weird lore moments where it's like, I know you, I don't know you, what's happening here? Now, you can still say, though, like, why aren't there Leeway characters who we haven't met in the story yet? Why aren't they showing up? Like, Jinyan, the rock star on screen right now. I don't want to say MiHoYo was just being lazy or bad designers here, because I feel like that's a cheap answer. But I can't think of any other reason to not have some of the characters show up. Unless there was, like a tragedy involving, like, all of the voice actors at once, where they couldn't talk for a few weeks. Heck, they didn't even have to talk. Like, if Zhongling was just, like, I don't know, like, standing in a corner somewhere, I would have been like, oh my goodness, there he is. That is all I would have needed to be like, oh my god, like, I bet you he's enjoying this so much more as Immortal, like, to make my own lore in my head. He didn't have to speak one word, but no, he's just absent. He's not here, he wasn't feeling it. Now, again, I don't want to say MiHoYo was just being lazy, or they're bad at designing stuff, but let me put it like this. If you have another explanation, I would love to hear it. Please, tell me in the comments, whatever, however you want to tell me. But as of right now, I don't have a better answer than that, and I don't know if we'll ever get one. Now, the Mondstadt Festival is rapidly approaching, and I can only hope that MiHoYo learns from this, but I'd still implore you to write something brief about it when you take your end-of-patch survey. It doesn't have to be long or well-worded, just something as simple as, add playable characters to the festival, dumbasses, or something like that. Now, I will say, from what we've seen from the beta testers over in China, it doesn't look great, and it does seem like it's going to be the same sort of event, but there is still time to change, and I really hope they do that for everyone's sake, because if we go to Mondstadt, and there's not Venti standing around at all, I'm going to be more than slightly disappointed. But yeah, that's all I've got for today. Have a nice day, y'all. Bye-bye.